All
Oh,
right, episode 7. Welcome back to Commission Breath. Just Brandon and I here today. No special guest. You just get us. But today we are going to dive in super granular on lead gen strategies. And specifically, we're going to do what? Top three?
yeah, I
Top
think
three.
these are the top three that we're working on during the dog days of summer, where it's a bit quieter. People are on vacation, and you have the time to implement some of these things.
Yeah, awesome. So why don't let's just dive right into it, man. Let's get to the goods. So we'll start with number one. Something that I've been doing of recent over the last, I'd say 30 plus days is happy birthday texts. And it sounds very simple and kind of like, why is this part of your list? But I don't just send texts to clients. I have my group of past clients on a list in my database. And what I do is I schedule out these texts with a personalized video going out to them. So I use BombBomb. You can use Loom, BombBomb, whatever you prefer. Any hosting platform, you can make a creative, personalized video for that person. And what I do is I schedule these out at the beginning of the month, and I do all of them in the morning. It takes me like half hour to do all of them, and they send out on the exact same day as their birthday, and I can schedule the exact same time. And when it heads out to them, it's a personalized text with that video, and it's through a two-way texting platform that I use. You don't have to use a platform. You can just use your personal cell phone if you want. Put your birthdays in the calendar. And the idea behind it is they open up this video and it's you, and you're having a personalized video saying, hey, Tom here, wishing you a happy birthday. And any notes that you have on that client, you can just read before you send off the video, and you're interjecting that into the video. So it makes it super personalized. So that's what I've been doing. And I've been getting a lot of good feedback on it. And I have gotten a couple leads from it so far, and it's only been 30 days. And it's not so much like you're not asking for leads at that point. So it's not like a hard ask. It's more so like you're staying top of mind. You're giving that high touch because you always want to differentiate yourself between banks and the online discount sites. It's just another edge or another tool in your tool belt that you can have. And clients absolutely love it. Like the responses I'm getting is amazing.
That's awesome. And how granular are you getting with those messages? Is it like just names, or are you dropping references to like pets, area they live in? Like, what are you adding in there?
Yeah, good question. And it depends on the client and depends on the notes I have. When I first started as a mortgage agent, I never really kept diligent notes like that. So some of these clients, I don't have like too much ammo to go off of. But the ones that I do, 100%, I'm putting that into the video, whether it's something on their pets, their kids, their house, any hobbies they have. I'm putting that in the video for sure.
Nice. And just to keep this going as you're working in your discovery call and stuff like that, I'm sure your notes are getting so much better for what you're listening
Oh
for
yeah.
now. So when you ask someone, "Oh, do you have any kids?" thinking like, "Can we use Canada Child Benefit?" to then ask, "What are those kids' names?" and make the note of that there as well. So 2 years down the line, you're like dropping the kid's name. They're like, "Holy crap, this guy actually does care."
Exactly, and that's like another skill in itself on the discovery call where you pick those things up and you can kind of not so much just follow the list of questions you have on your discovery call, and that's just something that comes with time. And yeah, like you said, like you just have those personalized notes that you create through those discovery calls, and you look back at that in whatever CRM you're using. Doesn't matter what you use, you can look back at that. You can send a text from your phone, or you can do it from a two-way texting CRM platform.
Yeah, exactly. And we have that built into Leadvine, so you could schedule it
Yeah.
there. And the piece I like about that is it works off people's reticular activating system where they're like they're not thinking about mortgages anymore once they have one. But if someone else mentions it and you've messaged them, then it reminds them there.
Yeah, because you're not saying like, "Hey, happy birthday. Do you have any questions about real estate?" Like you don't want to go that road. You want it to be super genuine. So that's all I'm doing. It's just the happy birthday text. And if conversations come from that, great. I'll obviously entertain that and go back and forth. But the idea is just to stay top of mind. And if you think about it, who is sending you a personalized video on your birthday? I don't have anyone. My friends and family don't. I'll get phone calls, and I think that's another great strategy. But I think the text with a video is super cool and unique, and nobody else is doing it.
Exactly. And I think even so much like our parents' generation who is more on Facebook now, even sometimes they're like, oh, well, I wrote on their Facebook wall. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
not quite the same, mom and dad.
yeah.
Um, but no, that's great. And that ties into, I think, your second lead gen idea, which is trying to get kind of the surrounding network around the initial client.
Yeah, so this one's kind of a twofold approach. So whenever I have any pre-approved clients in my um, pipeline, I'm always referencing them on a weekly basis. First of all, for updates on anything that we need. But if they're fully pre-approved, a lot of the times clients don't buy right away. So you obviously want to stay top of mind. That's leading into this. Like, of course, stay top of mind because you don't want them fizzling away and shopping you around, whatever the case is, stay top of mind. So how we do that is I make calls, whether it's me or my assistant, we make calls to our pre-approved buyers. And all we're doing is we're saying, hey, Tom here, just wanted to check in, see how the house hunting is going. And you're just keeping a super simple, open-ended question like that, create that conversation. They might be like, oh, you know what? We haven't really gone out yet. We're just taking our time trying to find the right fit for us to go look at a house. Whatever the answer is, it doesn't matter. You're staying top of mind. And the odd time you're going to have a hard ask in this as well, and you can do whatever ask you want. You can do a Google review if you want. I like to do, hey, do you have any friends or family right now that can use our help with the mortgage? Keep it at that and just let them answer. Don't ramble on. And the reason why I like doing it with pre-approved buyers is you have that two-pronged approach where you're staying top of mind, but you're also getting leads from them because they're going out there, they're shopping for a home, and that's at the top of their mind. So they're naturally going to gravitate other people who are in the same boat, and other people are going to ask them, hey, who are you using for a realtor? Hey, who are you using for a mortgage broker? And they know that you're looking for referrals at that point.
For sure. And I think another piece too is when people talk about it, a lot of them might say, oh, what rate did you get? And they're like, oh, yeah, rates. And if someone has enough knowledge from talking to you, rates only one consideration, and they start to share all this other detail. And they say, yeah, I've got this budget breaking down everything. Some other person who's pre approved at, like, just throw a random bank in there, walk in, isn't going to have all of those steps. So they're going to be like, wow, that's Tom has so much more value to
Yeah.
offer. Do you mind if I grab that person's number?
Yeah, or if you're doing the budgeting, it's like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I got this rate." Like, how was your budgeting? Like, did they go through all that? They're gonna say no. Like, nobody. I mean, mortgage brokers are catching on to that now, but if they've gone to the bank, they're not doing any budgeting. So something simple like that, that sparks that conversation.
For sure. Yeah, highlighting those value adds for them and just reminding them, hey, how's the house hunting going? If you need to refresh your budget for any listings, let me know. Little things like that just adds a ton of value and creates business for you down the line.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
Beautiful.
So third one, Brandon, what do we got?
Yeah. So I find I get a lot of leads coming in, and I'm very quick to cycle them through. And if they're going forward, great. If they're not, they kind of just go in a holding pattern where I stay in touch with the client. But what I've been doing is some of the ones that were from way back, like going back a year and a half kind of thing, I've started to follow up back with them and be like, hey, it's 2023. At the time, we didn't have a 2-year average that really worked for you. Why don't we refresh some of those documents and see where you're at? And it's generating business now because those people kind of just, a lot of them parked the idea of buying a home because house prices were crazy. It was way too competitive. They didn't feel like they qualified for anything. But during that time, they've kept their job. They've paid down some of those debts. They've actioned some of the other steps. So now when I'm circling back with them, they're actually at a pretty good point. And the reason I like this is all of my leads are from referrals. So what I do is I go back and say you're the realtor, Tom. I would say, hey, Tom, Jimmy, he referred to me November 2021. I've got him pre-approved and ready to buy. Here's his budget on what he can afford. And you're like, what the hell? I don't even remember talking to that client. I met them at an open house like that long ago. But it gives the business back to them. And they're like, wow, this person's system is so dialed in that I'm going to continue to send business to them because even if I can't fund it today, I'm not losing that client in the weeds. Like, they are still, they're being drawn back up to the surface, and more opportunities are created for both parties that way.
Oh, yeah, and it's like you're finding money for them at that point because 'cause they're not expecting that. They think, "Okay, that lead's fizzled out," like, whatever the last communication was for that lead. Then all of a sudden, you come out of nowhere and you're like, "Hey, I've got a pre-approved buyer for you. They're ready to shop again." That's gold for realtors, man, and every lead after that is coming right to you. So it's not just you're owning and you're winning that deal, you're getting future business from that referral partner. So I love that too.
For
And how
sure.
are you tracking everything?
So I've tried a few different things, to be honest with you. I used to just put them all on a whiteboard. And yesterday I went down with the whiteboard. My daughter was home with me. She passed me each tile. I wiped it off and I typed it into a spreadsheet and just sorted that way, because not everyone has started an application. Whereas, like,
Yeah.
the application would get pushed to my CRM, and anyone who's 2023 would be pushed to Leadvine. But anyone prior to that date is kind of in this archaic type approach I was doing. So I'm just going through there now and mining. Some of them I know, like, okay, this client was never going anywhere, so I'm not wasting
Yeah.
time on those.
Mark them like not a fit or inactive, whatever that case is.
Exactly. And then the ones where it was just like, they had some of the boxes checked, but they just had a few things they needed to tidy up. I'm circling back with them now and asking them how's it going.
Nice.
And I did this a first wave of this around the time that T4s are issued, just to say, hey, your whole scope of your profile has probably changed. You dropped the crappy year 2020 COVID is likely coming off the view of what the lenders are going to look at. So why don't we circle back there? So just a lot of things reframing for the client on why it's a better opportunity now.
That's an awesome point, man, because a lot of people preach the whole reach out to accountants or past clients that are business owners for the new T1s and NOAs, but nobody talks about the T4s. And I think that's a missing element, especially for the people where you can use that 2-year average if they have that overtime or commission based structure. Then yeah, what I would even add to that is mark on your calendar like February 1st or whatever the deadline is for T4s. I think it's Feb 1st. Put that in your calendar and say, hey, whatever you want to call it, and then you circle back to all your clients and go through the system. That way, it's a reminder for when you got to do that every single year.
For sure. And another piece that I found super helpful is, at that time, I told the clients, hey, just fire me a quick text with a picture of your T4 when you get it from your employer, or forward me the email. So they've got that one document checked off. I don't need to ask for it down the line. I'm just adding it to their file, and I can start to refresh things on my side as well. So it's just a little subtle piece. They're like, oh, I'll provide one document to Brandon. Big whoop. I'm
Yes,
giving him
that
10
make
other ones.
make it easy for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I love that. I would say that for me personally, like when I went through, I'm gonna give a shout out to Wiley. I'm sure everyone here listening knows who Ryan Wiley is. I banged out all his episodes in like this was over a year ago when he first started 12-Hour Broker. I banged him out in like a week, and every single episode you can branch off and literally build a whole lead gen system from it. And my biggest problem was I had that shiny object syndrome, and I was always, oh, I should start this, I should start that, because they're all great ideas. And then what I'm saying for listeners now is pick one out of these three that we talked about today and just start it and commit to it for at least 90 days. I was gonna say 30, but do it for 90 days, see if there's results coming from it. And then if not, then you pivot and you try a different strategy. Like you got to commit to something and go all in on one thing versus trying to do all three at once.
For sure. And all of these things we've shared here, you could write the messages, the script, the campaign, whatever it might be. That's a 1 day task. These are all 1 day things, and then you can implement and measure.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with the T4 look back or the whatever you want to call it, if you have a name for it, the old the client look back. That strategy you do once or twice a year, right? So good point.
For sure.
Awesome.
All right. So we'll have to do a follow-up on this one to see kind of what people have implemented and how it's gone for them. I'm curious to see kind of what other people are doing right now. We are in the dog days of summer. I find a lot of partners are enjoying time away. Phones are a little bit quieter, so there's time to implement some of these things and get the ball rolling.
Exactly. And now that I think of it, all three of these things are super easy to implement, especially the birthday text and the look backs. I mean, you can do that in 2 days, get those systems dialed in, and you're done. So, yeah, get at it, everyone. And also, reminder we have the free Realtor course for anyone that's interested. No strings attached. Our goal here is to provide like an enormous amount of value through this course. And hopefully, in return, in the future, you want to partner up with us with Leadvine. So that's all it is. It's a full course from A to Z, Brandon, A to Z, not Z, on realtors. So if you want to scale your business on realtors, go check it out.
Beautiful. Have a great week, everyone.
See you guys.
Cheers.